And welcome to the Brooklyn Ice Rink for the finals, Blue Division, the High School Hockey Championships up in the Cleveland Suburban High School League. This is Blue Division, a championship game between the Western Reserve Academy Pioneers. They'll be the home team in white. They come in seeded number 2, and seeded number 4 coming in, the Mayfield Wildcats. This will be the 4th time these teams have met during the year. Mayfield won a game in a tournament up in Menor, and then Reserve won both of the league games. I believe it was 2-1 and 4-1 during the regular season. Obviously very low-scoring games. Dan Berman has been going in goal for Western Reserve Academy. Taylor Lucas in goal for the Wildcats. We'll do a quick introduction here. This is the championship game in the Blue Division of the Cleveland Suburban Hockey League. And again, you see the high school hockey championships here. The Red Division also playing off this weekend. I'm not sure who's still left in that. And the Blue Division down just to 2 teams here. Reserve, who came in seeded number 2 just because the way the seedings were, they actually won their division. Mayfield finished 2nd in the Central Division. So what's nifty about this, it's the 2 Blue Central teams who faced each other 3 times previously, playing off for the championship. For Reserve, number 9, senior Mark Abel. Number 7, senior captain Kyle Anderson. Number 30, junior Dan Berman. Number 11, junior assistant captain Kyle Clausen. Number 6, freshman Chris Dianza. Number 18, sophomore Ryan Flood. Number 3, junior Alex Grace. Number 1, junior Jason Griffith. Number 4, junior John Grinham. Number 17, senior assistant captain Chris Guglielmi. Number 19, senior captain David Huth. Number 8, junior Nils Johnson. Number 23, sophomore Trevor Klein. Number 24, senior Tony Kreitzer. Number 2, senior Jonathan Lux. Number 21, junior Wes McFarland. Number 14, sophomore Steve McKinley. Number 20, junior Andrew Shaw. Number 10, sophomore Andre Talanda. Number 22, junior Pat Taylor. Number 15, senior Peter Thomason. And number 12, senior Scott Williams. Head coach is Bran Clausen. The assistant coaches are Mike May, Jim Newman, Jim Frazier, and Brad Edwards. The managers, Lindy Berta and Annie Guglielmi, and the statisticians, Kara Donahoe, Amy Samuel. Both teams, I should probably mention, were 8-2 during the regular season. Mayfield's 2 losses came to Reserve. Reserve's 2 losses, 1 was to Orange, 1 to Benedictine. Again, number 2, Jonathan Lux in goal, and number 30, Dan Berman. I'm sure Taylor Lucas will be going in goal for the Wildcats. We'll kind of flash over and pick up the coaches. Brand is right in the middle. Off on the far right, we've got Mike May. Next in, coming kind of from right to left, is Brad Edwards, Brand, and then we've got Jim Newman over on the far side there. I know Signor's down in there someplace. I lost him, but there's Signor on the far right down there. So we'll get a little bit of opening warm-ups here, and we'll be underway in the Blue Division championship game at the Brooklyn Ice Rink. The Reserve team just in a little pregame instruction from the ref there, and as it cranks down to the final seconds.
I'll let the people know that they okay. They want to do that. Brooklyn Recreation Center, 2002 Division II American Cup Championship. Played race together with Western Reserve Academy High School with a record of 15-11-2, and Mayfield High School with a record of 23-5. Now let's meet the starting lineups. Introducing the Western Reserve Academy Pioneers. In goal, number 30, Dan Berman. On defense, number 17, Chris Guglielmi. On defense, number 20, Kreutzer. Now left wing, number 19, David Hughes. Western Reserve Academy varsity hockey team. The Pioneers are coached by Mr. Brand Clausen. Introducing the Mayfield Wildcats. In goal, number 30, Taylor Lucas.
With Taylor, and we'll cut off for a second here.
I'd like to make everyone aware that Mayfield is the home team here. Mayfield is the home team. Western Reserve is the visitor.
Oh, so a little different, even though they're in the... So Mayfield will be the home team. I'll have to kind of keep an eye on that, even though they're in the dark green. And Reserve will be the visitors for this, which is kind of odd. They're lined up the other way, plus Reserve wearing the home white. And there goes Reserve. It'll be the Pioneers against the Wildcats in the finals, Blue Division. 3 15-minute periods. A couple of experienced refs down there. Should be an exciting game. Again, they've met 3 times previously this year. All 3 games, very tough defensive battles. Both goalies excellent. And a kind of exciting hockey you like to see. Pick up some of the fans here. I saw several of the teachers from Reserve are here and a lot of the students and stuff. So we get underway. We'll start off with the Clausen line. Kyle will be at center. Tony will be at right wing. David at left wing. Back on defense, we've got Pat Taylor's 22 and Chris Guviami 17. Kyle is 11, Huth 19, Kreutzer 24. Kind of our starting lineup here. And then Anderson's line will move out after that. We'll rotate our 6 defensemen. Drop comes right back to Taylor. Pat off the boards, up to Kreutzer, comes back. We'll recognize several of the players for Mayfield again as we've played them often. Both Farmer brothers, Philip, Miller's number 2, Ambrose 19, ends up with Clausen coming out. Clausen flips it across, trying to get it back. Sent out of the Justin Farmer there, ends up with David. Kind of ran into his own interference, but Tony just dumps it in behind. Kreutzer goes behind Lucas in goal. Ends up with the Wildcats along the dasher board, comes in, kept in at the point by Taylor. This time up, Kreutzer with it back over Clausen, the first shot, rebound, kicks out there, and they flip it out of the zone, right back down to Taylor. First shot on goal comes from Clausen. Changing up lines, Taylor comes in, takes the shot, just misses wide right, kicks back around far side, rebounds out, comes right back to Anderson. Anderson over to Taylor. He dumps it in as we're changing up lines. Number 5 is Shaba, I think the name pronunciation is. Ends up Anderson is out there with Abel and Grinham. Anderson with it, nobody covering out in front, comes around. Up along the boards near side, Williams out defensively, knocks it down with his glove, takes the hit, still gets it far side over to Grinham. John knocks it down in. It's Grinham, Anderson, and Abel on this line. Grinham sends it around the boards. It's going to come right back up to Williams. Williams and McKinley out defensively, flips it down in behind. Mayfield still trying to clear it out of their zone. Knocked down by Williams. He keeps it at the point, ends up with Abel, and we've got a hand pass on Reserve. Good call by the refs on that one. Scotty, who's not that tall, somehow was able to reach up and glove that one down. They were trying to ice the puck, but couldn't get it over the top. So the hand pass will create a face-off just outside of the Wildcats' defensive zone, and most of the action down in the Lucas end at this point in the game. Taylor Lucas in goal for the Wildcats. Dan Berman for Reserve. Ends up with Scotty. Williams flips it forward, knocked down, comes back over. McKinley, the first one on. Steve off the boards. It'll kick back down in defensively. Comes up, poke checked away. Grinham gets a hand on it, comes back over to Anderson. Anderson, he's wheeling around, some open space, cross, Abel dumps it down in, and we're changing up. Grinham comes off, rebound, shot, right back down to Williams, flips it in the air, gets it back over to Anderson. Anderson up, poke checked away, trailing it. Thomason's out at the other wing right at the moment. It's off the boards, didn't quite clear the zone. Takes the first shot up off at the defensive stick, and they're going for the camera people at this point in time. Face-off should stay back down right about the top of the face-off circle. Went off of one of the defensive sticks there, so that'll be the point of the drop. The Thomason line comes out. Nils Johnson will be at right wing, Wes McFarland at left wing, with Tolley and Flood out defensively, Berman in goal. So it's Peter Thomason, Nils Johnson, Wes McFarland offensively, Ryan Flood Andre Talana defensively, comes over to Wes. Wes is so strong, he just kind of forced his way through. A couple of the players here, I mean, people like Wes and Tony Kreitzer, shot down, makes the save, and Danny hangs on. John Grinham, all real solid, strong players out there. It looks like we'll go rotate 3 sets of defensemen. This will be the Ryan Flood, Andre Talana combination. Again, Thomason's in at center. We've got Johnson and McFarland at the 2 wings. Change up lines there. Comes down, looks for the shot. Just missed wider. He got the Farmer, got a great shot off on that. And I'm not sure if he got a glove on it or if it just missed wide right. I didn't hear anything, but a great shot by Rob Farmer. Up, Thomason flips it in the air, and it won't be icing as it will be icing. Yep. Thought it was going to go through the crease, or actually that Lucas might have to play it. Icing call, which is correct. It'll come back down into the reserve defensive zone, kind of to our right. Dan Berman's left, 12:19 left, first period, no score. The Clausen line comes back in, Kreitzer and Huth at the 2 wings. We've got, we'll stick with Flood and Talanda out defensively. So Kyle lining up against Miller there, ends up with Huth. Huth over to Kreitzer, 2-on-1 coming down in. Tony's still with it, looking for the backhand pass, flips it over, shot, just missed on that, as it was Kreitzer over to Huth, and works very well. They've set that one up. Big shot coming down in, Andre, but the first one on it is Flood, takes the hit. After the hit, comes up along the boards, and Chicane ends up battling with Kreitzer, gets it forward up to Clausen, back over the old give-and-go combination, Huth to Clausen. He'll dump it down in, I think. Nope, reverses direction, sends it off the skate, ends up with the Wildcats coming forward. Kreitzer will run him down against the wall, and Tony just ties him up, ends up with Andre, flips forward. Nice read by the Wildcats. Knocked down, comes right back in, and ends up with Clausen. Clausen dumps it back over, trying to feed to Huth, and it'll come back down into Ryan Flood. Ryan will have to pick it up. Change of lines coming up for the Wildcats. Off the boards, gets it to Kreitzer. Tony coming down in, takes the hit. Tony still dumps it down in behind, and then they clear it all the way back to Guglielmi, who's out defensively. Googs into the middle, picked up by Farmer. Back to Kreitzer, back over. Huth with the shot. Just missed wide of that. Actually, was a save. Flipped up in the air off the backside of the net, and it's Clausen battling out. Anderson's there. Anderson with the shot. Save, rebound, sitting out in front there, and hung on to by Taylor Lucas. And Anderson gets himself a shot on goal. Nice save by Lucas, and Clausen almost pokes in the rebound. Good shift out there, even with the change coming up, as Anderson was able to get on the ice, get himself a shot out. Now Abel and Grinham will come out at the 2 wings, and we've got Taylor and Guglielmi defensively. Pat's number 22 at right defense, Chris at left defense, number 17, ends up with Abel. Abel takes the shot, misses wide left of that one there. They're going to run it down in there, flips up in the air, tied up. Both 9s are battling there. That's Phillips and Abel. Grinham goes down hard, kicks back into the middle, ends up Anderson. Anderson with it. Kyle is so quick with the stick out there. Kyle looks out in front, shot, knocked down at the last second there as Anderson set up a scoring opportunity. Coming back, and Anderson takes him out of the play. Great job, Kyle Anderson, back checking from his center position, flips it forward, over to Kyle, kicks down in. They were trying to get it to Grinham. Ricochet back out over to Taylor. Taylor off the boards, hit back to Kyle, and as it comes down in, Grinham, nobody picked him up, and he left it at the last second there, still on sides. Anderson bringing it down in, looks for the shot, goes all the way through the crease, comes back over to Grinham. John flips it back in. They're going to have to chase it down along the boards there. Flipped up, knocked down by Abel. Abel back to Anderson. They flip it in the air. It's the A&A combination, and comes back, and this one clears all the way back to Taylor. Pat, a lot of room there as they're changing up lines, sends it in the middle, over to Abel off the boards. Dumps it, gets around 6, who's that Phillip out there, ends up with Justin Farmer, number 3, runs down by Johnson, puts the big hit on, ends up with McKinley. Steve cuts back into the middle, drops it back, centering pass, trying to feed it to McFarland, off the boards, right back to Thomason. Thomason, Johnson, and McFarland kept in by Nils. Nils, Peter, and Wes are out there, flips it forward all the way down, right back to McKinley. Steve dumps it in, trying to hit his cohort, Peter Thomason there, and it's off the boards, back down and kept in by chicane there, back over to Steve. Steve feeds it around up to West. West in the middle, and they let it roll the whole way out. And they had 5 people offsides, but intercepted by Thomason. Peters bringing it down in. Peter Thomason at center, Nils Johnson, Wes McFarland, the 2 wings. 9:05 left in the period. Centering pass, got it over to Wes almost. Nice defensive play by the Wildcats. Back down McKinley, flips up in the air. We got to use a little more strength on those to clear it out of there. Steve McKinley coming forward. McKinley still with it. Gets around Miller. McKinley coming down in. McKinley flips it over the middle to Thomason. Broken up at the last second. Off the boards, kept in by Williams. Knocks down Scott Williams at 1 defense, rolls all the way back. Good read by Nils Johnson. Into the skates there, and finally ends up with McFarland. West, we're changing lines up, ends up with Steve. McKinley brings it down in one more time. Steve's still with it. McKinley's number 14, goes to the forehand side, feeds it back over to Huth with the backhand. Down, just missed on that one. It would have been the assist to McKinley. Huth, and this time it'll be icing against, is it gonna make it there or not? Runs down at the last second. Good read by Ryan Flood there. Cuts on in, shot, missed wide left of that one there. Comes all the way back down to Huth. David coming forward, looking for Clausen, gets it over to Kreitzer. Tony coming down in, everybody on sides. Kreitzer, take the shot. Tony scores! Tony Kreitzer! The assist will go to David Huth! Kreitzer from Huth, they do it again! That combination is awesome! Tony Kreitzer puts reserve up 1-0. He goes top shelf on Lucas. The assist will go to David Huth. Number 24 from number 19. Kreitzer puts us up 1-0, 7:59 left.
Number 24, Tony Kreitzer. Assist number 18, Kreitzer goal. 7:01.
All right. They gave the assist to Ryan, but I'm sure that went to David on that. Anyway, comes back out. Shot on goal, comes down in on Lucas there. And Clausen hustling down in, so unofficially we'll give one to Ryan on that too. Ryan has played some great games defensively. Flood number 18, Talon and number 10. We got the first line out there. It's Clausen, Huth, and Huth's got it again. A little bit of hooking from Farmer there. Flips back in the middle. It's getting more physical. Comes right back down around to Talanda. Tolly, look for the open player. Flips it across over to Kreitzer. Tony comes down in one more time. Kreitzer, 24, breaks around one way. Drops a pass back, trying to feed over to Huth. And David still gets on it. Huth, Kreitzer, and Clausen, and they've combined for a ton of goals this year for reserve. Comes back up, knocked down by the Wildcats. And we got a hand pass. Yeah, I thought it was knocked down by the Wildcats. Okay, excuse me. Anyway, the hand pass was called on reserve there, so I guess we must have gotten the glove up there. I didn't see that. And we change up defensively. We've got Taylor and Guglielmi. Offensively, it's the Kyle line with John and Mark at the 2 wings. So Anderson, Abel, and Grinham. Taylor moves up to almost like a 4th offensive player on the line. They dump it down in, comes all the way back to Googs. Googs over to Anderson, ends up with Abel back in the middle. Poke down, ends up back to Grinham, and it goes into the far corner, run down by Anderson. We are just a touch quicker getting everything over there. Comes around 23 with it. Up to the point, kept in by Googs. Off the boards, back to Abel, dumps it back, picked up by, this should be icing. Nope, they're gonna be able to run it down. Good play by Taylor, gets it around near side. Shaba picks it up, looks for the centering pass, but right to Taylor. Taylor over to Anderson, nice pass coming down in. It's 1-on-1. Anderson with the shot, kicked off wide, sets up in front, comes around. We're gonna have to pick it up over on the far side there, right back. Knocked down by Googs. Comes back in behind, Lucas in goal. Anderson comes around, I'm not sure if we were changing up a wing on that, comes rolling all the way back to Taylor. Pat with it there. Flips it forward, knocked up in the air, would have been a high stick on that anyway. Coming down in, shot, save, knocked off wide, ends up with Grinham. John, the junior, out there at right wing. Back to Anderson, trying to feed into the middle. Grinham looking for the shot, knocked down at the last second, and a save by Lucas. Thought we almost had an interference call there, but a great setup from Anderson over to Grinham, and we'll change up with 5:55 left. Face-off stays. No flash cameras, even though the picture was taken of Mr. Abel, so that couldn't have blinded the skaters down there. Anyway, ends up with Thomason is at center. We've got Nils and West, and somehow Scotty keeps it in at the point. Nils is at right wing, West at left wing, and we've got Peter at center, hustling down in. McKinley puts the hit on. They flip it high in the air, but coming all the way back to pick it up is Williams. Williams off the board. They're offsides, guys. Good call by the ref. Ambrose is going to plead his case, but he was still offside. Even on the replay, he's offside. So you can see Rob Farmer trying to time that with coming in. Ambrose looking to clear out, but he obviously hadn't gotten back out. Good call by the refs. Thomason stays in at center. Johnson and McFarland are the two wings back defensively. We've got Steve McKinley and Scott Williams. Dan Berman in goal. 1-0 reserve on the goal by Kreitzer. The assist to Huth. Berman leaves it for McKinley. McKinley back trying to get it over to McFarland on that. McFarland up to Thomason, and the Canadians combine to clear it out of there. Flipped high in the air, knocked down by Scotty. One more time, Williams with it. Miller had it momentarily, lost it, they send it down in, missed off the near side there, looks for the wraparound, out in front, broken up the last second, and Berman hangs on. Nice job, set up 13, almost gets the shot off, but a good job by Dan Berman, and he hangs on. We've got 5:07 left in the period. We're back to the Clausen line, ends up, Rob Farmer sends it around, Phillips and Huth battling over there, Davey gets the better of that one. Flips it up in the air, out of the zone. They knock it down in again, but we'll just have to wait for a tag up. Comes around, over to Talanda. Tolly feeds Huth. Huth dumps it down and takes the hit from Phillips and keeps right on going. Goes behind Lucas in goal. Lucas leaves it for his defenseman. Up in the air, knocked down Flood, and it gets by, but it's run down by Tolly. Using those long strides of his, Talanda crank it around. Up to Clausen. Nice pass. Talanda to Clausen, reverses direction, still with it, sends it into the middle, but nobody over there, and kicks back out, but right to Tolly. Talanda sends it down in, looking for Tony, ends up with Ryan. Flood will dump it, smart play by Flood, goes in behind Lucas, in goal, run down by, big hit in behind, and you can see, I'm not sure on that one, an interference call on, what happened on that, though, and that's an interesting call. The goalie was behind the net, but so was one of the defensive players. And when David hustled down in there, he got Taylor Lucas's stick, but he also got the defenseman. So that's a really kind of a questionable call. He obviously collided. He obviously collided with Lucas's stick, but there was also a defenseman back down in there. So that's one of those really difficult call. Anyway, comes back out. It's a power play opportunity. Flipped up in the air. Was that Miller was trying to dump it down in, and it went up into the reserve players box. So not what Miller had in mind. Face-off will be right at the red line. Really kind of, kind of a questionable one on that, but it went up. We've got offensively, we've got Anderson and Thomason. Defensively, ends up with Guglielmi and Taylor, excuse me. Power play opportunity, everybody on sides, comes down in, first one on it is Taylor. Avoids the hit from Miller, watch Farmer, feeds up to the point, that's the right play, comes back. Farmer does a real nice job of controlling their offense. Challenged by Peter on that, lost it momentarily, picks it up, and Taylor tries to tie him up along the boards. They feed up to the point. Ambrose with the shot, save! And 9, a little bit extracurricular there. And all they're going to get is just a little discussion from the ref right there. But anyway, it's Berman makes the save, and that's all you need on that. We'll change up offensively. It looks like we're going to go with Nils Johnson and I'm not sure why they're still, and we got a discussion going on. Now Mayfield line back up, excuse me. We've got Johnson and Abel out offensively, same defensive combination, stepping forward, got a challenge on that. Johnson will pick up at the point on the challenge, come back down in. Nice job by Taylor, stay with it, and that's what you need to do. Comes up to the point, challenge, and lost it out of the zone there, and that's what you need. Stolen, Abel dumps it down in. Quick reflexes, 1:11 left on the power play. Johnson's the only one battling with Ambrose down in low. They're going to leave it for Farmer. Farmer full head comes across ice, up, tied up, and they reverse direction, sends it down in, lost it momentarily, and everybody tied up by Abel. Nice job defensively. Comes back in, and watch the wraparound behind. First one is on it. Comes up to Farmer. Farmer hit up along the boards, slap shot, redirected on that, and that's what you need to do. Nice job by Guglielmi. Stolen, Farmer one more time. Comes and out of the zone. Great job by Taylor, and he'll just, nope, still with it. Taylor's still with it. Poke checked away. Abel coming around, take the shot, flips it off the boards. Comes back in behind, ends up with Ambrose. Ambrose, this time he'll try to skate it out, comes back challenged, poked away, last second runs into his own player. Everybody on sides, they had 4 guys on the line there. Ambrose sends around, shot, save, pokes up in the air, ends up with Anderson, he sends it the length of the ice. Good job by Kyle. Poked away there, and we change up to get Anderson and Grinham out. 7 seconds on the power play, coming down in. Grinham steals the puck. Comes right back to Farmer, they dump it down in. Won't be icing, power plays over. Booth is on the ice there. McKinley up in the air. McKinley and Williams out defensively. Battling, Miller ends up with it. We've got 2 minutes left in the first period. 1-0 reserve on the goal by Kreitzer. Over to Grinham, didn't quite clear the zone, comes back. Scotty backhand, yep, out of the zone. Good feed. Anderson to Grinham. Huth is out there also. Poke checked away. Coming back down in. They flip it out, but nice pickup by Williams. Williams cross ice back, try to get it over to Huth up out of the zone. Ends up with David. David and Kyle both coming down in. Huth is 19. Anderson 17. David still with it, loses an edge, goes down hard, ends up with the Wildcats, 1:25 left, first period. Wildcats coming back the other direction, everybody on sides, poked away by Williams, over to Grinham, steals it. The old come Wildcats, knocked down by McKinley, McKinley out, and 3 guys were off sides, comes all the way back down around to Steve. Change of lines for the Wildcats. Cuts back into the middle, no. Steve comes forward, up to Kreitzer. Tony's got the goal. 1 minute left, Kreitzer with it. We need 1 more in the period. Tony in the middle, over to Clausen, almost buries one there. Poked down in by McFarland. McFarland's at left wing, Clausen's at center. Trying to get it over to Clausen in the middle, ends up with Wes. Wes and Tony, the 2 wings. Kyle's at center, 45 seconds left. They flip it in the air, and they're gonna have to run this down. It won't be icing. Conti heads off, number 12, nice skater for the Wildcats. Flips forward, over to Tony, knocked it down, got it over to Wes, poked it in. Everybody on sides ends up with the Wildcats. They flip it in the air, intercepted though by McFarland. McFarland in the middle, trying to feed over to Tony, kept in by Andre on a nice play, 20 seconds, bouncing up in the air, backhand, and it was a shot on goal by, over in the middle, knocked down and almost put in by McFarland. The setup by Kreitzer. 12 seconds left, kept in by Williams. Williams in the middle, and this time they'll flip it in the air, and this will be icing against. So with just a couple seconds left here, Andre tags up on that with 3.6 seconds, and we need to win the face-off. We're going to put Anderson out there. He's usually one of the best on face-offs. So Anderson, Thomason, and actually all 3 centers are out there. This is interesting because both Kyles and Peter are our centers, so we'll probably put Clausen will come in at center. Peter, no, pardon me, it was David Huth came in at the right wing. Huth and Anderson out there, win the face-off, try to get it back to a point if you can. If Kyle can drop it back there, nope, feed over, and that'll finish off the first period of play. Great first period of action at the Brooklyn rink. And we'll pick up so you can see some of the parents up here. Real good turnout for Reserve and Mayfield. So the shots on goal. 1-0, 9 shots on goal for Reserve, 3 shots on goal for Mayfield. And we'll take a breather here between the first and second period of action, with Reserve leading 1-0 on the goal by Tony Kreitzer, the assist to David Huth. Flash down in on Berman. We'll start off in goal. I'm sure we'll go with Taylor and Guglielmi starting off. The Clausen line out there, and they've planted one so far with Tony Kreitzer putting us up 1-0 on the assist to David Huth. We'll give Ryan kind of an unofficial assist on that one. And Rob Farmer, number 4, coming the other way. Phillips is 9, Ambrose 19. That's the offensive line for the Mayfield Wildcats. Wildcats are technically the home team here, even though they're in the visitors' green and they're sitting in the visitors' box, so a little different combination. Taylor Lucas in goal for the Wildcats. Off the boards, kicks down in, and Wildcats comes up, kept in by Googs though. Guglielmi flips it up in the air, knocked down. Chris using his strength, down in shot on goal. Lucas makes the save, right back down to Guglielmi. He hustles back up to his defensive slot, and it comes back around to Siracusa. Syracuse feeds up to Phillips. Nice tie up by Taylor, and we're going to have an interference call or hooking, I think, on Pat Taylor. Nope, interference, okay. So Pat will go in for a 2-minute minor. They got kind of hooked up there, and it was a hard read on that, but that's the second penalty on reserve, none so far on Mayfield. We'll just kind of point that out to the refs, just a little reminder. 14-13 left in the second period, 1-0 reserve, and it will be a power killing situation for reserve power play for the Wildcats. Phillips comes in at center, Miller comes over to the right wing. Coming the other way, we've got Anderson and Grinham. It's a 2-minute minor again for interference. Coming back defensively, we've got 14 is Steve McKinley, 17, Chris Guglielmi. Down in, Mayfield controlling. What they like to do is keep it over on what is basically their left side. Farmer comes in. They try to feed up to the point to get a slap shot off from Ambrose. Ambrose and Farmer, the two scoring threats for the stolen, and comes out and sends it the length of the ice, and that was all done by Grinham. John Grinham just powered his way in there. Justin Farmer comes back over, Anderson on it. Anderson takes the late hit from Ambrose, and Ambrose will end up in the penalty box for sure during this game. Flips it forward, right out, comes all the way back. Goog sends one down in, hits off of Justin Farmer, and is left for Ambrose. Ambrose flips in the air back to Justin. Farmer up off the boards, into the middle trying to get it, but stolen by Grinham, comes all the way down in, and Googs slaps one off the boards all the way back to center ice. Comes up, Farmer flips one down in, right back to McKinley, and Steve sends it out the length of the ice. Nice job, McKinley and Guglielmi killing off time. Lucas leaves it for Ambrose. Ambrose picking up full head of steam. Abel and Thomason are out defensively, or offensively, excuse me. Big hit, and ends up back with Steve. Steve along the boards comes up to Farmer, knocked down, stolen. Abel had it momentarily, lost it. They dump it down in. Everybody's still on sides. Comes up, challenge up along the boards there. Big hit by McKinley. As it comes around the far side, it ends up with Rob Farmer. Farmer drops it up, but he's challenged by Thomason. Comes in, and that's what you need to do. Form the box. Feeds back, man in the middle, taken out by McKinley. The box is still there, 12 seconds left on the power play. Feeds back in, but the pass got too far there, and they're going to challenge. They're still waiting, killing off time, I think, but they waited so long, the whole power play's over. They never even took a shot. I really have no clue what they were trying to do there, but they killed off their own power play. Comes back to Farmer one more time. Shot, save, rebound, he hangs on. And that was one of the dumber power plays I've ever seen. They never even attempted a shot, and now they're sending Guglielmi in for something that happened afterwards. So this will be the third penalty on reserve. I never saw what that was afterwards. I really don't understand that power play at all. Chris goes in for a 2-minute minor. I never saw what the call was, but all of a sudden it's 3 penalties on reserve, none on Mayfield, and it's they're calling cross-checking. So it was something that happened. It looked like what happened, I guess, is that Berman made the save when one of the defensemen... So cross-checking, usually that's protecting the goalie afterwards, especially when it's on a defenseman there. So it's a man advantage again. They just killed off a 2-minute power play, 12:17 left in the period, and it's another 2-minute power play opportunity. And we get the old buzzer as they hadn't set anything up yet. So they put the 2-minute penalty on the wrong side. I think that's what they're going to correct right here. Trust me on this one, guys. I think what happened is they put it up because it looked like it was a home team penalty since it was a player in white. And they'll probably just let it run anyway, even though it's on the wrong side on the scoreboard there. It's a penalty is on reserve, who's really the visiting team. We've got Huth and Clausen out there offensively. Flood and Talanda defensively. Comes up, challenge at the point. Phillip sends it down in. Nice play by number 6, Phillip, the big defenseman for Mayfield. Comes back around, they send it back, looks for the wraparound, knocked down, and picked up by Clausen, and he'll just flip it the length of the ice. Gets by Phillip, not all the way, tries to get knocked down, stolen by Huth, coming back down around to Ambrose. Ambrose reverses direction. Ambrose stepping forward. Huth trying to read it, sends it cross ice, picked up, and that should be icing. Nope, it's a shot on goal, but he wasn't at the center line. They weren't going to call icing anyway, but it ends up, as they flip it up in the air, didn't clear out of the zone, challenge down in. Nice save by Berman. Not sure why they weren't going to call icing on that, because he certainly hadn't been to the center line. Comes back up, Kept in by Phillips, slap shot, save, rebound, and poked away, and comes up. A nice save, and a great clearing out by, shot down in, rebound off the backside of the net.
Come on, Bree, come on, Bree!
Rebound, kicked down in, kept in by Clausen. Kicks into the middle, Ambrose, and now we've got Nils Johnson is out there. Nils is like a gnat. He's all over the place. Johnson and Clausen, the two offensive players, flips it forward, brought down in by Miller, taken out of the play by Clausen from behind. Coming around, big hit up along the boards, and it comes up to Farmer. Rob is now set up on the right side, 29 seconds left on the power play. Moves back into the middle, backhand save, hangs onto the rebound, they get the whistle. And a little extracurricular down there, but Berman does what he does best. He blocked down in low, slid across the crease with Miller, who got the backhand off. A little pushing and shoving afterwards, but again, no penalties on that one. It's still 5-on-4 hockey for another 24 seconds. 10:40 left, second period, 1-0 reserve on the goal by Kreitzer in the first period. Rob Farmer comes back in at center. Reserve is going, I'm not sure if John Grinham came back out on that. Nils Johnson was out there before, cycling around. Abel and Grinham, it looks like they've got. So it's Abel and Grinham on the, takes the shot, blocker save, bounces down, and Abel should clear it the length of the ice. Comes all the way back down in 9 seconds, ends up lost an edge, and goes down. And who's gonna run this one down? Nice job, comes back down around, and they flip it in, back out on the ice. Taylor takes him out of the play and ends up with Abel. Abel flips it up in the air, knocked down on a hand pass, shot, missed, rear, comes near side all the way over to Grinham. Good job killing off. They killed off 2 power plays with 1 shot on goal. Still with it, Williams over to Anderson. Kyle using his speed, puts the big hit on, comes back down around to Grinham. Grinham ties him up along the boards. Slap shot comes around, up, kept in by Taylor. Taylor takes the big hit, still gets it. Grinham, shot on the wraparound, comes over far side. Ambrose and Abel ties up along the boards. They step forward, knock down. Abel still with it, poked around, looks in the middle to Anderson, and comes down in. Taylor with the shot, rebound, knocked down. Put down in front, Abel, take it out at the last second there. All of a sudden, flipped up in the air one more time, and they take him out of the play. Over Anderson, poked down in, and they knock him down. Extracurricular, Anderson's taken out from behind. No call, and pressure put on by that line down in there. Some good solid pressure. Anderson taken down from behind, and they should have a penalty on number 3 Farmer, but they're going to call it both ways. Boy, I don't know about that one. They're calling one on Taylor and one on Farmer, and you saw what happened. Justin came in and cleared out Kyle Anderson from behind, so certainly number 3 was going in, but they're going to get Pat Taylor, so it's matching minors. And the only reason that they're calling a penalty is because Mr. Abel was complaining about no penalties on Mayfield. What I meant to say is one on them only, not matching though. Apparently they didn't hear me well enough, so we'll go still with 5-on-5. 9:22 left, second period, still 1-0, and all of that was, we'll call it extracurricular afterwards. But Anderson, Abel, Grinham, and Taylor put a lot of pressure on Taylor Lucas in goal there. Anyway, flipped up, kept it at the point. Steve McKinley knocked down those have still got to hurt McKinley. Oh, and he's driven down from behind by Schappa, but Trevor bounces right back up. Kept in. Trevor almost wings one off there. Good job by Klein. Comes back out. McKinley and Guglielmi defensively. We've got Wes McFarland at left wing. Trevor is at right wing. Trevor will run this one down. Peter Thomas is at center. Thomason, McFarland, and Klein. And this should be icing against the Wildcats. A good call by the refs. I'll give them half their paycheck for the second period alone. I still don't know about that last penalty down there. You saw number 3. I never saw what Pat Taylor got called for, but it was clearly a penalty on 1. The faceoff will come back down into the Wildcats defensive zone. We've got 8:49 left, second period, 1-0 reserve on the goal by Kreitzer, the assist to Huth. Stepping forward, speaking of that line out there, that's what we've got out now. Kept at the point, McKinley slaps one down, comes back over to Kreitzer. All the way back up to Googs, Guglielmi, back over to Steve. Steve with the open shot, gets around 1. Steve still with it, pokes down into the middle, and picked up by Siracusa. Siracusa flips it out, knocked down by McKinley. Ambrose going forward, but It'll be 19 on 19 as Ambrose cycling around. He's cranking down in, taken out of the play by Clausen. Poke checked away by McKinley, and he gets the puck back, comes up to the point. Nice job by, who is that? Rob Farmer, number 4. McKinley along the boards, up to Kreitzer. Tony flipped it forward, nope, stolen, kept in 5, knocked down by Googs, and up and out of the zone, and they're going to have to clear. They're still offsides. Perfect read by trailing the play, leaves it for Huth. David with the shot, save, and he hangs on. Oh, and there's a clear one there after the whistle, and there's got to be a penalty on, who is that? There's got to be one on that one right there. That's going to be 19 Ambrose, I think. Let's see if I got the right number on that. Excuse me, or was it Miller after the whistle? I didn't see who went in. It was on Miller. 2 minutes roughing call afterwards, and I missed what happened right before that, but obviously that was a late hit, so it's a 2-minute minor of the first power play of the game for reserve. And let's see how we're going to go with this. We've got Grinham and Thomason at the 2 wings. Anderson is at center. 7:51 left in the second period. So it was on Brian Miller, excuse me, I was looking at the wrong player on that. And back defensively, we've got Talanda. No, not both teams equal strength. That was a mispronounced by the announcer there. Anyway, it's a power play. Yep, good call. He gets to keep his paycheck. Anyway, knocked down. Grinham leaves it back up over to Flood. Flood to Thomason. And Peter, good stick handler. Looking, we got to cycle one down in low. He's looking for Anderson. Anderson comes back to Peter. Peter, they're going to look up for one of the points, and you can see that Andre is trying to cycle down. Grinham just clearing in front, and they couldn't keep it in. But Andre still gets it back and leaves it back over for McKinley. Oh, and they poked away at the last second. Too many out there. Ends up with Steve. Steve takes the flat shot, moves around to Thomason. Thomason back to Anderson, looking for Grinham out in front. Coming down in. Shot! Rebound! Tries to knock it down. It's sitting out there, and McKinley almost got one. Great job. Anderson to Grinham to McKinley. Tolly with the shot. Redirected. Comes all the way back over to McKinley. Steve McKinley, Andre Talanda, the 2 defensive. No, into the middle. And Rob Farmer, nice job. Feeds it the length of the ice. Back down in on Berman. Nice setup back there by Anderson. Comes back to Thomason. Peter getting it back over, dropping it down in on Grinham. And the puck just kind of slid loose. It almost went in on Taylor. Up, and they clear it the length of the ice. 47 seconds left on the power play. Reserve is changing up. Dan Berman leaves it for Andre Talanda. Tolly coming up. Pokes up in the air. Would have been a high stick. Who else do we have out there? We've got the Clausen line. They dump it down in. David doing what he does best, cranking around, ends up, and he's always the first one to the puck. There is a Division III player sitting there, ends up Tolly, down in over to Clausen. Clausen still with it, looking, and he's moving around. He's got Kreitzer and Huth out there, drops it back to Huth. Huth, rebound up to Tolly. Tolly back into David, had it momentarily, lost it, gets it right back again. David leaves it, but as Tolly cuts for the middle, we got 4 seconds left on the power play. Feeds it back over to Tony. It's back to 5-on-5. Comes behind. And once again, Taylor Lucas is standing back there with one of his own defensive players and creating situation. Nice job by Tolly. Ends up with Tony. Kreitzer over to Huth. David cranking, coming down, and takes the shot. Just missed on that. Holy cow, Lucas never saw that one coming around. And Phillips, shot by Kreitzer, bounces up in the air. That was a bullet from Huth. 15, sends it up, kept in, nope, as it got by Williams. Touch off a defensive player, 5:18 left, all the way back down to Tolly. Tolly over to David. Huth flips it in the air, gets it down in. We were offsides, back onside, big hit from Clausen. Back to Kreitzer, Tony still with it. Tony back to David, looking for the shot. And scores! It's Clausen from Huth and Kreitzer. And they moved it around very well. It's Kyle Clausen from Huth and Kreitzer. And I'm sure that goal will go to number 11. David gets an assist. Tony gets an assist. It's 2-0. And once again, it's moving the puck around, and they are just out-skating their opponents. That goal should go to number 11, Kyle Clausen.
Number 11, Kyle Clausen.
Good call by the refs. 19 and... All right, 9:58, 2-0. Flips it forward all the way back to Guglielmi. So David Huth, a pair of assists. Kreitzer and Kreitzer and Clausen with the 2 goals. Flips it down in, should be icing against reserve. Good call by the refs. Not good for us, but the correct call. Comes back down in, and we're going to go with the Thomason line is at center. We've got Wes McFarland at left wing, Nils Johnson at right wing. This is actually a great combination. Peter's a good center. Nils has got the speed. Wes has the strength. So you get some stick handling, speed, and strength all on one line out there. Defensively, we've got Guglielmi and Taylor. 4:46 left, second period. And stepping forward, Phillips sends it over the other side. Shot down in front, save, and kick back out. Nice job by Berman down in there. Stepping forward, flipped it in the air, all the way over to McFarland. West bringing it down in. McFarland muscles his way right by Phillips. Ends up with Rob Farmer, leaves it, shot down in front. And I don't know how West still got that off, and then Justin Farmer cleared out. It was a really high elbow to the neck there, but no call on Justin there. Part of the disadvantage that Nils has is that since he's a little bit shorter, he ends up with a lot of hits to the head there. And I would call some of those elbowing, but no call by the refs. Now we've got the Anderson line out there, Abel and Grinham, the 2 wings. The 2 nines matched up in front of us, comes forward, back up, kept in by Googs. Guglielmi, oh, no. Oh, kept in by Taylor and sends it forward to Ambrose, but poke checked away by Guglielmi. Watch for the centering pass, wraparound, save by Berman, and he hangs on. Nice job by Berman there, not giving up the rebound. It kicked out, he grabbed it, and that's what you need to do in goal. Berman, super job. We'll stick with the same offensive combination. Defensively, we'll go with Williams and McKinley. Scott Williams, number 12, Steve McKinley, number 14. And we've got the Anderson, Grinham, and Abel line out there for reserve. 4:12 left, ends up, Williams flips it up, Abel out of the zone, comes back, icing, nope. He said he had one foot on the red line. I agree with the refs on that. No icing, stepping forward, still with it, nobody challenging, still with it, nobody challenging, sends it forward down in. It'll be icing against reserve. One more step on that, and it wouldn't have been, but I agree with the reserves, with the refs call on that. Too many R's out there. The 3 R's, not reading, writing, arithmetic, but referee, not sure what the other 2 are. Again, Anderson is at center, drops it forward, picked up, challenged, knocked in the air, and ends up taken out of the zone. It's the speedster, Anderson coming down in, runs in, he's got Grinham, dumps it into the corner. Anderson down hard. Grinham, he's got Abel in front, out in front, shot, all the way to the point, kept in by Steve. Nice job by McKinley. McKinley dumps it down, one more time, back to Grinham. Grinham battling, Abel ends up, looks for the, no, dumps it back. It's both 4s are out there as Farmer, and that is going to be a face-off back down in the defensive zone. We'll change up offensive lines for reserve. Rob Farmer's line will stay out there for the Wildcats. It was off of one of the defensive players, Rob Farmer, so the face-off stays back down in the zone. We're back with Clausen, Kreitzer, and Huth. They've got both goals. Tony flips it down in, goes wide of Taylor, and battling through there is Huth. Flips it up in the air, bouncing puck all the way down, and they wave off icing, which I believe is the correct call on that one because it went right by one of the defensemen, ends up with McKinley. Nobody challenging, 3:11. Steve steps forward, nobody coming down in on him, sends it up to Clausen, Siracusa out of the zone. We come back, tag up, they dump it down in right to Siracusa, and he lost it, flipped it off the boards, comes back out to McKinley. McKinley to Huth. Huth to Clausen. Kyle's got the second goal. Siracusa lost it. Kyle's still with it. Kyle centering pass, knocked down by Huth and picked up by Rob Farmer. Coming back defensively, it is McKinley and Williams. 3-on-2, poked away by Williams. Steals the puck, and they try to get it back again. Wrapped up in with McKinley. Nice job by Steve. Bouncing puck. This should be icing, and it is icing. And we'll change up defensively and offensively. It looks like we're going to go with Flood and Talanda coming out on defense. So that's Ryan and Tolly with Dan Berman in goal. The Thomason line coming in with Trevor Klein at one wing, Wes McFarland at the other. Wes is 21, Trevor's 23, Peter is 15, 2:31 left, second period. 2-0 reserve, the Blue Division Championship game at the Brooklyn Ice Rink. Flips forward, down in, not sure if that was a save or just went off wide, ends up with Tolly. Talana takes it, and he just wipes out one of the players, ends up with Tolly around to McFarland. West coming forward. West still with it, gets by, who's 13, Shaba, comes up, ends up back with Miller. Miller bringing it down in, forced off wide, tries the centering pass up, still with it, flipped all the way through the crease over to Trevor, and Klein clears it out of the zone. Nice pass, Klein over to Thomason. Peter coming down in. Leaves it backward for McFarland. West backhand, picked up by Phillips. West still with it, and a rebound in front. Nice job by McFarland. Klein, and knocked down, kicked forward, and 5 will just dump it down in behind. First one on it is Tolly. I think 5 is Shaba is out there. I get 5 and 13 mixed up. Stepping forward, McFarland. McFarland still with it. McFarland still with it. McFarland with the slap shot, and he just muscled his way through one more time. Flips it forward, knocked down Tolly, keeps it at the point. Talana with a shot. High bouncer over the top of the net, comes in behind Lucas, ends up with Justin Farmer. Mark tries to knock it down, and it goes right back to Ryan Flood. 1:17 left. Flood over to Anderson. Anderson back in the middle to who's this? Shot by Huth. Comes back over. Abel along the boards, kept in by Flood. Flood into the middle. Picked up by, tries to knock it out. Still with Huth. Drops it backhand down in front. Anderson shot, save, rebound. Abel, and we get a quick whistle from the ref, but actually I don't disagree. The puck was obviously loose, but the ref couldn't see it on the other side, and I don't disagree with that call there unless the ref had x-ray vision, which sometimes we think they do. But he certainly lost sight of it, and Lucas is very happy for the penalty. Just gave a 5 to the ref there. 55 seconds left, first period. We've got Anderson is in at center. We're going to go with Huth and Kreitzer at the 2 wings. So this is the power line, the last 55 seconds. We need to put one more up. Let's give it to Anderson. Phillips battling over. David comes down. They try to flip it out of the zone. Kept in by Taylor. Back over, feeds to Kreitzer. Tony with the shot, rebound. Anderson tries to poke one in, and they send it out. This will be icing against Mayfield. Good call by the refs. And they didn't need x-ray vision for that one. 39.2 seconds left in the second period. 2-0 reserve. The first goal by Tony Kreitzer, the assist to Huth. The second one by Clausen, the assist to Huth and Kreitzer. We had handoff from one ref to the other. It was dropped. And same combination. Kyle's at center. David and Tony, the 2 wings, with Googs and Pat back. Chris with the shot. Oh, those have got to hurt. Flips it forward to Phillips. It comes all the way back to Taylor. Taylor. Pat sends it over. Won't be icing. Nope, they're going to wave it off. Tony comes back down around. Picked up by Shaba. Flips in the air. Knocked up. Couldn't keep it in at the point all the way to Kreitzer. Tony comes back, leaves it for Taylor. Phillips had it momentarily, dumps it down, and Shaba has it, takes the big hit, ends up with 7 seconds. We dump it down in, and we got an icing call on reserve. And Taylor Lucas is asking if he should be pulled as the goalie because there's 5.1 seconds left. The question is, do they want to put a 6th skater on? The danger is if we win the faceoff, we can dump it the length of the ice and pick up an open net goal. And their coach wisely tells Taylor to stay put. 5.1 seconds left. Faceoff is back in the reserve defensive zone to our right or Danny's left. Step it at center, step it forward, up, slap shot broken up at the last second. Who is that? By Huth. They flip it in the air, and at the buzzer! Reserve goes into the third period of action, leading by a score of 2-0. So 19-9, the shots on goal. You can hear the applause as we pick up some of the players coming in there. We get the assistant coach Brad Edwards. We've got Brand Clausen and Senior there, and Jim Newman, far side. Missed Mike coming off there, and we'll just kind of take a breather here going into the third period of action of the high school hockey championships with Western Reserve Academy, the Pioneers, leading the Wildcats from Mayfield 2-0 on goals from Tony Kreitzer and Kyle Clausen. David Huth, a pair of assists. I'll pick up Dan Berman in goal. We'll start off defensively with Scott Williams and Steve McKinley. So Scotty and Steve out defensively, and the Clausen line as it's 2-0 reserve heading into the third period of action. Championship game, Blue Division. Huth left it back over, up along the boards, knocked down, nice job, moves back into the middle. Who's that? Must be Farmer. No, excuse me, that was Ambrose. And again, the puck is not moving very. This same thing happened in the last game where it's still a little bit wet. They're still able to clear it out of the zone, and they wait to tag up. And it's kind of, you can see how wet it is out there. Steve over to David, lets it run all the way to center ice. They're going to dump it down in, and comes right back to Scotty. Williams picks it up. Number 12 coming forward. Flips over. Clausen leaves it for Huth. Huth bringing it down in. David with it. Backhand shot, rebound, and kicked back out. I never saw where the puck went, but it was a backhand off of David. Saved by Lucas. Bounced up in the air, came back to Clausen, kept in by Williams. Williams to Kreitzer. Kreitzer trying to feed it over in the middle to Clausen. Sends it forward, coming back. McKinley, the puck is really not moving. Shot over the top of the net, hit off of the dasher board. Tony tries to knock it down, comes back to Williams, up in the air. Kreitzer leaves it. Oh, and who is that? Ambrose. Shot just missed on that. Ambrose tried to level Kreitzer and went head first into the boards. He missed him completely. Comes all the way back, and then who is that? Excuse me, they got the shot off. Shot save! And he drops down. It's in his padding. He's got to leave it. I think it's hung up in his padding there, actually. So it dropped down. He wasn't hanging onto it, but it dropped down into his knee pad. Nice shot by the left wing for the Wildcats, and a great save by Berman. But then it dropped down into his padding, and we'll go with the Anderson line with 13:34 left, third period, 2-0 reserve championship game. Kyle, John Marker out there, picked up off the boards, tries to get it up to Kyle, clears it out of the zone, nice job, and they zing it down far corner, right back over to Taylor. Taylor coming around, over to Grinham. Grinham cuts back into the middle, and lost it at the last second, but still ends up with Googs. Googs off the board, and they're gonna call icing on reserve. Face-off will come back down into the reserve defensive zone. Face-off probably on the far side there, which is our right. Berman's left. So Guglielmi Taylor defensively, Grinham and Abel the two wings, Kyle Anderson is at center, Dan Berman in goal. Change of lines coming up. Phillips comes back in at center, is number 9, I believe, for Mayfield. Kyle Anderson over to Abel, up, challenged, redirected. About 9 pair of skates were in there to Googs. He flips it high in the air, and that's way out of play. And we've got it's one thing to clear it out of there, but that one up into the penalty box right there. Good thing somebody's paying attention. Almost got conked on the head. Face-off back in the face-off circle, and it'll still be Anderson. This time he's centering against Rob Farmer. Kyle and Rob comes forward over to Grinham, back to Anderson, up, clears the zone. Nice job by Kyle. They try to force it around, knock down Ambrose, ends up with Anderson, and Anderson just dumps it down in. Now it's a dump and chase, left behind, comes around the boards, all the way up, kicks into the middle. Abel back, knocked down, in, shot, rebound. Rebound still sitting out there poking away, and then everybody's knocked down at the last second, and a lot of extracurricular there. But Lucas had made the save, it kicked back out. Anderson and Grinham both came down in, hustling in. Nice job, just good aggressive play there. And then finally it trickled back in, and Taylor made the ultimate save, if you want to call it, as the puck was knocked back into him. Wisely, he didn't get up. Good pressure put on by Kyle, Mark, and John out there. 12:43 left, and we're going to go high in the air and knocked off. It won't be icing. Coming back, Tolly sends it around to himself, actually. Nice move by Talanda. Tolly back into the middle. Talanda over to McFarland. McFarland and Klein, the two wings, picked up by Thomason. Peter had it momentarily, sends back in. Garfield coming down, tries to poke around, backhand. Oh, save! And it was a nice, who was that muscled his way through there? Was Farmer, I believe. Nice save by Berman. Once again, Ambrose goes for the big hit, gets a face full of glass, knocked down, and no high stick on that, gets it over to McFarland. McFarland to Thomason. Peter brings it down in, looking for Trevor, lost it, left it for, oh, and as Wes McFarland got the shot off just over the top of the net, Klein parked on the doorstep. Klein battling with number 6 is Phillip. Kept in by Tolly. Talanda feeds it down in. Tolly still battling. Gets the better of that one with Phillips. Flips it up in the air. Didn't quite clear out. And this time it comes out near sideline. Flood Talanda back defensively. Dumps it down in. Not icing. Syracusa, I believe that ends up with Tolly. Talanda just muscles his way through. Tolly sends it forward. Left by Kreitzer trying to get it over to up in the air. Should be icing by the Wildcats. He was trying to, I think he was trying to ricochet it off the boards, but it went the full length of the ice there, so I don't think that was an intentional icing, but it just took one of those bounces, headed all the way down in, and both lines change up. It's the Clausen line out with Kreitzer and Huth at the 2 wings, Williams, McKinley defensively, Berman in goal. 11:20 left, third period, 2-0 reserve, championship game, Blue Division. We need one more from this line, so David needs to score to go with the other 2. Ends up Tony with it. Kreitzer still with it. Tony tries the wrap, and nobody could move. And this will be icing against the Wildcats. As they're, I don't want to call it a panic situation, but at this point in the game, they really are having a difficult time getting it out of their defensive zone, and they're just dumping it, praying for a breakaway, but that one went the full length of the ice, icing on Mayfield. Miller heads off. We'll get a change. Let's see who we're going to come back with. Ambrose is out there, Farmer's out there, and Phillips. So Rob will be at center, Ambrose and Phillips, the 2 wings, countering with Clausen, Kreitzer, and comes forward, kept in somehow by David, hustled over to it, and they try to flip it out, right back down into Scotty, off the boards, over to David. David back to Clausen. Clausen with it. Clausen still with it. He's got Kreitzer trailing the play. Kyle cycles around, looking for David, all the way into the middle. Pick up defensively by the Wildcats. Kept in, nope, Williams couldn't get to it, and it would go the whole way back. Shouldn't be icing, as it went right by one of our players. Good non-call on that. David steps forward, flips it up to Clausen, had it, lost it, steps forward, leaves it up to the point, knocked down by Kreitzer, flipped in the air, oh, and just missed on that. Good job by Tony Ambrose. Flipped it forward and couldn't keep it in. No, they did keep it in at the point, doesn't matter, as I think, and they trip it up and they're going for the camera. Actually, they were going for, I think they're going for Mr. Flanagan on that one right there, but the face-off will be just about the blue line there, 10:20 as it goes out of play, actually inside the reserve zone as they flipped it up. I thought that went off one of the Mayfield players, but apparently it touched one of our players. Anderson, Abel, Grinham, Taylor, and Guglielmi flips up, and one more time, guys. We're going to see how many pucks we can go through. So both of those are going for the cameraman. Kind of funny to have 2 flip out at the exact same spot, and it's Miller against Anderson at center, and not a clue what that's all about there. Anyway, Anderson drops it forward, picked up out of the zone, Abel over to Grinham. John coming down in, he'll dump it. Nice play by Grinham. John playing very well. First one on it over is knocked down in by Googs, and they said he either just gave him the finger or he was outside of the zone. I'm not sure which that was. Oh, hand pass, okay. Anyway, when all's said and done, the faceoff is just outside of the defensive zone of Mayfield. Flips forward, Googs gets to it, Chris over to Kyle, brings it down in. Kyle looking for the shot. Shot just misses wide left. Abel rebound, comes in behind. One more time, somebody lost a stick. I think it's Kyle, flips it forward. Nope, it wasn't Kyle, it was one of the other players. Way off sides, guys. And they finally wait to tag up, dumps around. Great play by Anderson, comes around. Googs off the boards, knocked down Grinham, takes the hit. They still get up, cleared out of the zone, over to Anderson. Leaves it Syracuse, trailing the play is Grinham. Grinham flips it in the air, kick down. and they zing it off, and this is clearly icing against Mayfield. Mayfield is really in a panic mode. I have not a clue. He could have skated that one out of the zone, and they're almost creating some of their own defensive pressure right there, as the face-off will be back down into the Mayfield defensive zone. To our left, Taylor Lucas is right, 2-0 reserve. We do get the Farmer line back out there, but we're countering with Clausen, Kreutzer, and Huth. David looking for the puck on that, comes up. We couldn't keep it in at the point, knocked down, and we get an offsides as it did come out of the zone when Tolley kicked it down in. It's Talanda and Flood defensively. 9:21 left, third period. Kyle's number 11, Tony's 24, David's 19. Change of lines coming up. That was a quick change there as Farmer heads out. So they're putting their second line in against our first line. Drop of the puck. Tony sends it down. David will run it down like he always does. Ends up with Huth. Huth still with it. Drops to the point. Flood almost gets a zinger off on that. They crank back the other way, but again, they don't have their first line out there. Ryan, and then Tolley takes him out of the play. Goes down hard. Talanda still battling. Clears it out of the zone. Knocks down. They've got a tag up, and Ryan runs it down. Flood. Flood slips it forward. Tony over to David. Won't be icing as it comes back in on Syracuse. Loses it to, looking for, to Huth. Huth gets it right back again. Huth still with it. Huth still with it. Backhand, misses wide right. Somebody goes down hard, and he's hurt out there. It looks like David, and he's hurting there as something got him in the leg, and he'll be able to get up, it looks like, but took something to the leg there, and he skates out under his own pressure. Talking with the ref about probably looking for a slash on that one, but he'll get off. We'll change up lines there. Huth and Talanda stay out defensively. Offensively, we'll go with the Thomason line. Peter will be at center. Nils Johnson probably at right wing. Wes McFarland at left wing. 8:37 left, third period. Still 2-0 reserve. The championship game. Goals by Kreutzer and Clausen. Ends up with Wes. Wes loses it at the last second, still gets a shot off. McFarland lost an edge, and from his knees, he still got a shot off there. McFarland, Johnson kept it at the point. Tolley went down, scores! And the goal is to Thomason! Peter Thomason from Andre Talanda, and Wes McFarland also. Peter Thomason will get one. Talanda should get an assist, and I give one to Wes also. Peter Thomason, it's 3-0. Tolley gets one of the assists, and all that happened, Tolley took the shot. Thomason let it ride up his stick, but Peter will get the goal. Andre will get the assist. The time, 6:22, it's 3-0. And number 21. Good call by the refs there, 15 from 10 and 21, and Wes set that whole thing up, but Tolley took the shot, and all Peter did was just let it ride up his stick. So Peter Thomason and this line out there, Nils is at right wing. Wes takes the shot. It's knocked out at the last second. Tolley with an assist, comes back forward. Nice job by Johnson, takes him out of the play. Kicks in behind, first one on it. Big hit, missed it entirely. Shot, never got all the way through as Rob, everybody's looking for a shot now. Knocked down, clears out of the zone. Nope, we didn't get it all the way out. Tolley knocked down, and it ends up with McFarland, flips up in the air, back over, who's that, Phillips, and Peter Thomason just ties it up. Finally, actually, they work it out as Peter flips it forward. Trailing the play is Wes. Wes has Nils on the breakaway. No, waited too long. Excuse me. There was a penalty, so the penalty's on. I thought there was a breakaway, but the penalty was on McFarland, a 2-minute minor, and it's probably for roughing. I never saw what the call was on that, so it'll be a power play opportunity. Breakaway for Andre. In fact, I thought that Wes had the puck, but it was Tolley with the breakaway. The penalty was called on reserve. So it was a tripping call, excuse me. And again, they put the 2-minute minor up on the visitor side because it looks like, on the home side, because it looks like we are the home team. Stepping forward, it's a power play. Shot just misses on that one, comes all the way back over. We got to keep the pressure on. It's a power play. We've got Anderson and Grinham up, lost it. Anderson breakaway coming down in. Slash! A slash! Hook! Shot! Just missed! No call! You can see the slash up on the arm as Ambrose clearly slashed. Anderson, no call. Interesting. Anyway, Faceful comes back down in. Anderson gets it right back again. But that was a clear slash up around the shoulder. Ricochets coming down in. First one on it, tied up. And it's a big hit by McKinley. Comes in behind. Miller leaves it for Phillips. Comes back, looks for the wraparound. Shot kicked off wide, and they score on the power play. And really interesting because there was clearly a penalty at the other end with no call by the refs. And all of a sudden it's 3-1 as Mayfield takes advantage of the power play. So it's 6:18 still left. That'll negate the penalty, but boy, there was a clear penalty out there, and it was a high hit. Ambrose just took his stick and slashed Anderson up around the shoulder. Everybody here could see it. I don't know why that was not a call, but anyway, we're back on. It's 3-1 all of a sudden. A lot of time left in this game. He kicks it forward to Taylor. Taylor up to, ends up with, who's that with Tony? Gets it to Grinham. Gets it to Taylor, or Huth. Comes all the way back up the point. Kept in by Googs. The hitting has picked up dramatically. Coming forward all the way down in. Sends it off the boards. First one on it is Taylor. Up. They clear it out of the zone. First time gets it to David. Coming down. Little hip check there. Missed on that. Taylor with the shot. Save. Rebound out there. Clausen tries to poke it down in along the boards. And they kick it all the way back down into the reserve defensive zone. Ends up with Taylor. Pat goes around. Syracuse is 13 up in the air. They cleared all the way out of the zone. Comes back down around. Ends up with David. David's cranking. Everybody on sides comes down in, and two people crash, and they clear this one out. This should be icing. Nope. They weren't going to call it anyway, so it must have gone off a defensive stick. Farmer looking to steal up. Gets it to Clausen. Drops it back in. Over to 15. Sends it back right to Kyle, though. Kyle dumps it down over to Tony. Kreitzer brings it in. 5:08. Trying to feed back over to David with the shot. Save, rebound, pokes it down, and just misses on the rebound. Good pressure on Taylor Lucas from Kreitzer and Huth. Comes back, poked in. Clausen keeps it in, comes all the way back out to Taylor. Taylor and Googs. And Pat still with it, sends it up to David. Slap shot by Clausen. And they're going to call an offsides there. Apparently the puck had come back out of the zone, and when David sent down in, Kyle shot one down. I'm not sure it touched one of our players, but it was kind of a delayed offsides there. 4:46 left, third period. 3-1 reserve on goals by Kreitzer, Clausen, and Thomason. Face-off will be nearest us. Peter Thomason comes in at center. This is what worked well last time. We've got Nils Johnson at right wing and Wes McFarland at left wing. They combined the last time. Flood and Talanda out defensively. Nils knocked down by Peter. He got the third goal, and that could prove to be the difference in this day. Back, takes the shot, rebound, poked out there as Thomason almost gets himself another one. Hustling down in, watch Farmer. Poke checked away by Flood. Trailing the play is Johnson around over to McFarland. Stick with it. Wes up, clears it out of the zone, knocks forward, and that was done by Johnson on that. Back over, drops it for Peter. Shot, rebound, save. Johnson, save. And Johnson, and they got to hustle back. Farmer comes out, takes the shot, broken up by Flood one more time. Ends up, shot down through, rebounding, hangs on. Great job by Berman. Ryan Flood, two super jobs defensively out there against Rob Farmer, who is clearly the outstanding player, outstanding offensive player for the Mayfield Wildcats. 3:58 left. We've got Anderson out there with Grinham and Abel at the two wings, Flood and McKinley defensively, or Talley, I think, defensively, excuse me. I wasn't sure if we changed up there or not. Steps forward, Grinham, Hudson, Abel over to Grinham, bounces up in the air as that's how they try to clear it out of the zone. Steps forward, off the boards, battling, they come forward, clears all the way out to Grinham, the pass, Talanda, Grinham, looks for the shot, save, and he hangs on. Great shot, John Grinham, off the pass from Andre Talanda. Nice save by Lucas, but John Grinham just a bullet of a backhand as he muscled his way up ice there. So Grinham with the shot. Tolanda would have had the assist, and we'll change up defensively for reserve. Scott Williams, number 12. Steve McKinley, number 14. Anderson is still out there with Abel and Grinham. 3:44 left, third period. And they've got to keep the pressure on Taylor Lucas. Again, this is the championship game of the high school hockey playoffs, excuse me. Knocked down Abel, still with it, comes around this side, but run down by Grinham, also with Williams here. And this is where Mayfield has really struggled trying to get it out of their defensive zone. Anderson over to help out. We get the whistle as they weren't able to clear it, and they're just having a lot of difficulty getting it up and out of their zone. Kyle comes over to plead his cause, whatever that was for, but all it was just a face-off as the puck was tied up along the boards. Kyle takes the face-off. Anderson back over to Abel. Shot just misses, bounces down in, rebound in here, comes back to Scotty. Williams sends one into the middle, knocked down, poke checked away. First time didn't work, second time kicks right back to McKinley. Off the boards, flips it in the air, and this should be icing against reserve. We'll change up offensive lines for reserve. 3:11 left, third period. 3-1 on goals by Tony Kreitzer, Kyle Clausen, and Peter Thomason. The assists are going to Wes McFarland's got an assist. Andre Tolanda has an assist. Clausen, Huth, and Kreitzer have assists. Clausen is out at center. Kreitzer and Huth are the two wings. It comes up, challenges, knocked down, and David just forces his way through everything and just sends it all the way down in, and finally up out of the zone, comes back down to McKinley. Steve back over to Scotty. Scotty up in the middle, bounces up, but still knocked out of the zone as trailing the play, Ambrose. It comes back over, and again, David loses an edge there. He goes down, that's a couple times that's happened, comes back to McKinley. McKinley around the boards, gets it up to Kreitzer. Tony, and they're backpedaling. Tony to Kyle, trailing the play, ends up with Rob Farmer. Rob coming back, poked away by McKinley. Steve, off the backside of the net, comes in closest to us here, to Phillips. Phillips tries a centering pass, bounces down in, rebound, and he hangs on. And Rob Farmer takes the dive, guys, and we're gonna give him a 9.8 on the dive, okay. No, even Rob knew that was a dive there. He kind of cut in front, got a gentle tap. Rob, just a super skater again. But the Olympics are coming up, so we're allowed to evaluate those. 2:23 left, third period, 3-1. Another very even, low-scoring game, and every game they've had has been this way. Farmer stays out there, comes back. Taylor had it, lost it, doesn't matter, gets it back. Out in front, knocked down. Who was that? Guglielmi up. They didn't quite clear the zone the first time. Second time they did, as he forces it out, was David Huth. Comes back, steps forward, and Pat up to Tony. Tony down in. Mayfield dumps it back the other way. Poked away, and we're going to get a trip on. Oh, well, we got a trip coming up on David. So anyway, it's a 2-minute minor. It'll be a power play opportunity. And let's see, we've got 1:56 left in the third period. The refs are doing that to make it interesting here. The Super Bowl is going to be a blowout, so they're trying to make the division finals at least interesting. All right, and there was that, again, they won't pull the goalie. It's a power play opportunity. It's Johnson and Abel offensively. We've got to clear the zone here and kill off the power play. And a timeout is called by Mayfield. And you can hear the cheering going on behind from the Western Reserve Academy. Comes up to Googs. Googs flips it up and takes, and again, there could have been a trip called on that one. No call as Googs sends it out. And it went out of play, though, as he flipped it high in the air. So the face-off right at the top of the face-off circle. Again, we're just trying to clear it out the length of the ice, keep the pressure off of Berman in goal. Nils Johnson, a real good center, drops it up, knocked down, challenges off the boards. Googs takes him out of the play and flips it up, knocked down, and being challenged. Nice job by Nils Johnson, sends it all the way back where Ambrose picks it up. Nils and Googs combining on that one. Stepping forward, they cycle back around the other direction. Ambrose looking for the open. Stolen, Abel pokes it off the boards, comes back, knocked down forward, and he just forces it into the zone. Comes back the other way. Looking for another pass, coming back, everybody waits, shot, save, kicks back over far side, watch the centering pass, comes back in, challenge, Abel, off the boards, picked up by Googs, and Googs, big hit, ends up with Taylor, flips it the length of the ice. Nice job by Pat. Actually, Pat gets a shot on goal. If they'd pulled their goalie, 1 minute left, it would have been a goal. Change of lines coming up. Johnson stays out there. Peter Thomason is out. Comes back over. Peter will run this one down. Sends it off the boards. First time didn't work. Second time is a charm. They got to wait. Challenge. Nice job by Mills. And he sends it the length of the ice. Down in 41 seconds. Comes behind Lucas in goal. Keep the pressure on. Anderson's out now. Anderson and Thomason. Back defensively, we've got Andre and Taylor tied up along the boards. Everybody they say is on sides. Phillips had it, forced off the boards, comes back in behind. Challenging centering pass, broken up in the last second. Stays on him, and Danny hangs on. A nice job out there defensively by Taylor and Talanda, and offensively Thomason and Anderson. We've got 18.9 seconds left in the period. It's 3-1 reserve. It's still a power play. They pulled their goalie. This is where Anderson needs to put one in and make it 4-1. They pull the goalie, dump it the length of the ice. Tally flips it up in the air, didn't get out the first time. Wrap around, high up in the air, knocked down. Miller had it momentarily. Centering pass, poked away. Save by Berman. Danny hangs on with Rob parked on the doorstep. Berman again comes up big in goal. And now we've got 8.3 seconds left. It seems to go forever as Tolly was going for the open net goal. Ryan Flood is out defensively, number 18. Anderson steps forward. Anderson, Thomason. It's 6-on-4 actually. Up, and this will kill off the period as they come back down around. With 2 seconds left, the length of the ice. Save Berman with the win! The championship game won by Western Reserve Academy. The Pioneers. The program is phenomenal. Berman gets the win. The Pioneers are the champions of the high school hockey blue division in the Cleveland Suburban High School League. Unbelievable what this program has done since 5 years ago when they just won their first game. And we'll get everything, and congratulations there. What a phenomenal game. And
At this time, we ask the players to remain at their respective blue lines for the presentation of the Division II Barracks.
all right, so the handshake. Well, Taylor Lucas and Dan Berman, the goalies, were just incredible. We get the two of them, Taylor and Dan, and they congratulate each other. They were just excellent. Again, the quick summary is Tony Kreitzer scoring from David Huth, and then Kyle Clausen from, I'm going to get this wrong on that, from David, and actually I thought one of the defensemen was on that one there. The third goal I know was Peter Thomason scoring from Wes McFarland and Andre. Congratulations to the ref there. As they reline up there, I have to kind of go back and think. I think that the second goal was Clausen from Huth and Anderson. And we'll get down on, again, Rob Farmer. What a phenomenal player, as he and the coaches congratulate our coaches. Head coach Brand Clausen we've got there with the other, the couple of assistant we've got out there. Again, I do want to thank Lindy, Annie, Amy, and Kara, the statisticians and managers for the team. So Lindy Erda, Annie Gugliano, Amy Samuel, Kara Donahoe, the four of them for all they've done. As we get a few discussions here.
From the captains of Mayfield, Rob Farmer, Douglas Rava, and Trevor McGrath, please come up and accept your runner-up flag.
We'll get Rob. Boy, these guys are great. It was fun playing them. Very even games. 2-1, 4-1, 3-1. I mean, you couldn't ask for closer games. The goaltending and defense were just phenomenal. And we'll get reserves.
Now the captains, Chris Guglielmi, David Hughes. Kyle Anderson, please come up and accept the Barracks Division II.
David's 19, Chris 17, Kyle is 7. Our 3 seniors out there, the co-captains along with assistant captain Kyle Clausen, and unbelievable what they've done this year. Unbelievable, guys. Big round of applause. Now let's get some of the players there. Again, the championship game, Western Reserve Academy, the Pioneers, come up with a 3-1 win over the Wildcats from Mayfield. And we'll get the players there as they head through. The defense this year was just phenomenal all year long. Congratulations there to the different players coming off. Trevor Klein's 23, 3 is Alex Grace, 30 Dan Berman in goal, 2 is Jonathan Lux, 12 Scotty Williams, 8 Nils Johnson. I got the captains and co-captains before. Who else did I, Alex, 14 Steve McKinley, 4 John Grinham, 11 Kyle Clausen, 24 Tony Kreitzer with one of the goals, 21 Wes McFarland, 20 is Andrew Shaw. I apologize for missing a couple of the players there, and we'll kind of stick with this. If we've got a chance to get in the locker room briefly afterwards too. And we kind of flashed on in there as best we can get this, and we get the parents heading out on the ice to take, we'll get Mrs. Abel there taking one picture. Mrs. Shaw is out there, Mrs. Clausen, Mr. Taylor. So we'll get the parents here anyway in this, as they've had to put up with the kids all year long. That's almost as bad as the coaches doing that. What a turnaround for the Western Reserve Academy hockey team. 6 years ago, they didn't win a game, were mercied several times. Brand, Mike May, Jim Frazier, Jim Newman, Brad Edwards have brought them all the way to the high school hockey championship, Blue Division, in the Cleveland Suburban League. We'll take a breather so that I can get the crew after the picture taking. We'll get Jim's wife here. We'll get Susan. Okay. The rest of the Newman family. And some of the parents as we flash around there. We've got Chris's mom, Mrs. Guglielmi's there. We'll get Mrs. Huth. Actually, David sends his entire family to these things. And we'll come down in. We'll get Brad on that as he carries. Brad's the biggest of the, so he's got to carry the trophy because it weighs a ton. And let me take a breather here and see if I can get down in the locker room.
Here it was, but I came into this very locker room at the end of that game in this ice rink.
Oh, okay.
And it was the first time that we had won a game. And I came in with...
Fortunately, it was our second season.
Came in and we still have the puck. Is it in the trophy case? Or?
Down in the raft, I think.
Down in the raft, that's where it is. So if you see it, it's down there. That's the first puck from this rink right here.
We beat Brooklyn 6-3.
First game.
1996.
And I can't tell you the number of people in the stands today. They keep coming up to me. They said, "Remember that game?" You know, because they were here when we were. What did we dress? 13 kids. It was a victory if we still had 13 people standing at the end of the game. So.
Our Cable's
yeah.
brother, Eric.
So you come a long way, and that puck in that case means a lot. I think we got a trophy, and I hope we get a puck out of this somewhere. But
Somewhere.
yeah. But we'll see you later.
All right.
Good job, Paul.
Congratulations. Boys. Let's go ahead and get changed. What we're going to do, here's the plan. We're going to go and eat. We're going to come... And we're going to get on the bus, and then we're going to go eat. Yeah! And then we're going to come back here, and we're going to watch part of the other Bear Cup game.
Yeah, that's great. Championship game. Step back out of that. Thanks, Jim.
There's an explanation of why we were away.
Doesn't matter, boys. This is right
There
here,
you go.
boys.
Yeah! And there. Here we go, boys. Get the.
drink out of it.
Not Lord Sam.
There you go, Coach.
Coach, you have a bad mind.
I think boss is asking.
Nice job, guys.
That's why
Nice
we're
job,
away.
Peter.
Way to go, everyone.
tomorrow!
Yeah.
We'll get that. Go school tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, I know more here.
But, no, you're going to be at 40 meetings. You're going to be at 40 meetings.
No afternoon classes!
But,
Better be there.
we do not have practice tomorrow.
I don't want to jinx it.
We have the day off tomorrow. Got that?
Go skiing.
It says, no. Gooks, focus on me here.